Hello Raiders, I'm Ezra and I'd like to welcome you to my Bastion. This video is the first in the series that I'm calling Raiding Outside the Box. And the series is about doing things differently. I think that there's far too much mental energy being spent on whether or not you get endgame on meta champs and not enough spent on whether or not you can progress your account. And with that, I'm going to start this video with some fight results. You'll see here this is the final boss stage from last month's Doom Tower. What you'll see here hopefully is that I have Teela Goremane doing 5 million damage compared to a Cold Heart who did 10 million. Now everyone surely is thinking to themselves at this point, Ezron, clearly this is a Photoshop. All the other content creators on the internet tell me Teela Goremane isn't even useful for guarding your vault. How is this possible? Well, what I'm telling you is that my account doesn't have very good hit point burn champs. And hit point burn is what you really need to beat the final boss of the Doom Tower. So I used what I had and I used Teela Goremane. Some of you also might be thinking, well, clearly you have ridiculous content creator gear on her. So let me go take a look at both the Cold Heart I have and the Teela Goremane. Now I'd like to sort of level set with my Cold Heart. She's in what is mostly broken sets. She does have one crit damage set, but overall I would call her a fairly solid Cold Heart build. You've got over 70% crit rate, so after you have the bonus from Heartseeker, you're at over 100, and 273% crit damage, which is, in my opinion, respectable. Compare this to my Teela Goremane. Now, mind you, she is level 50, 5 stars and ascended, in largely accuracy and a little bit of immortal gear. She's not that fast. She has very bad crit rate. But what she has is lots of accuracy, that's intentional, and a fair amount of hit points. The idea is that she's not going to get targeted by all of the various mobs in the Doom Tower, and she can land her debuffs. I will say I think this is a very achievable build for a lot of people, especially if you look at this chest plate. It's absolute garbage. I should have gotten rid of this chest plate when I rolled flat hit points the first time, but I kept holding out trying to get more speed. I didn't get it, so there we go. The other pieces of gear, again, lots of accuracy, a little bit of speed, some hit points. The helmet, some speed, a lot of accuracy. The shield, speed and accuracy. Hopefully you're seeing the trend here. With the gloves, didn't even bother with crit rate. I put hit point percentage gloves on her just so she would not be targeted. Also, she does some of her ability to scale off hit points, so that helps a little bit with damage. Again, you've seen the chest plate before. That's pretty terrible. The boots are actually half nice. They're 5-star speed boots. If you can't get them reasonably out of clan boss or out of the dungeons, you're probably going to struggle in Doom Tower anyway. But this is the only piece of gear I have on her that I would say is actually nice. The ring, hit points and defense, it's pretty run-of-the-mill, and then a hit point amulet. So with that, let's go back, and I will walk you through a run I just did of the Doom Tower for this month. So here's my setup for this month's Doom Tower. You'll notice I did switch out Zargala for Miscreated Monster. The idea was compared to last month, which was like an almost 10-minute run. I wanted to try to put more damage on things just to speed the run up. That's the only change I've had. There might be incremental changes in gear among all the people. I really don't track it that closely. The important part here is Warlord is really there for more than anything else the resist aura. He also, heals and shields. You might need to switch someone out for that, but, any resist aura is super, super helpful here. Of course, Cold Heart for max hit point damage. That makes a big difference in how long runs take. Arbiter for heals and revives. If you don't have Arbiter, also Sile of the Drakes would be a good fit there. I will say, if I run this again this month, I will probably not use Zargala. When we walk through the run here, she gets resisted a lot with defense down. I would use someone with a lot more accuracy. Like I've got a Tayrell who is on my clan boss team who would probably be a much better fit here, just to lay defense down much more effectively and hopefully speed up the run that way. There's a lot of people you could switch out for all of these things. Septimus could go for Cold Heart, even Husk could go there. Basically any damage dealer, anyone with heals and revives. My Teela is there just because she's really the star of the show with Hippo and Burn. I don't have anyone else. Either defense down or weaken or some kind of other fight speeding ability here with Zargala, and then a resist lead. With that, let's start the run. So we'll pick up here as we start into the boss fight, or the final boss fight. The screen loads, it's a little bit laggy today. And we show up here. Everything's on auto at this point, and Zargala is doing her job in terms of nuking. She blows up a lot of the waves and gets us through the first round very, very quickly. We get into the second round, very similar results to the first. We're taking out all of the mobs really quick. I was a little bit worried about Cernek putting up unkillable, but we get him down before anything too difficult happens. Teela is sort of along for the ride. She does a little bit of damage, but that's not really what she's here for. Then we get to the boss, the Nether Spider herself. I'll say I don't get the smaller side spiders targeted early on. I personally kill the two smaller spiders first, just because then you have to worry about the buffs and debuffs that they put on the boss spider. You'll notice here as people hit the spider that's targeted. So Zargala just hit for like 33,000 on a Devastate. That's a sign that their defense is relatively low compared to the boss. When you see her hit the boss later, it's for like 10,000, which I believe means she has just much higher defense in general, which is another reason why I kill the side spiders first. You'll also see that the debuffs on the smaller spiders are starting to stack up. That's good. Also, that means that they have lower resistance. You'll see later in the fight that this resistance becomes a bit of an issue, and I have to manual things, but I'll wait till that happens until we actually get there. A little bit more on auto. We get a weaken on the spider. Zargala hits for almost 100,000. Heartseeker comes in. Lots of resist, you'll see, which is important. That's why Warlord is there for the resist aura. So the first spider's down. I focus fire on the second spider. It will go down very similarly to the first one. There you just saw Warlord get his debuff extensions in. That helps with especially the HP burn. One of the weaknesses of Teela is that her HP burn is a 2-turn burn and a 4-turn cooldown. Having a debuff extender here is super helpful because you have to worry less about whether or not it's up. You'll see later in the fight I have to manual a little bit to get around that as well. That's not something that I think should stop you from doing the fight. It just means you might need a little bit of manual intervention. So I've got both of the small spiders down. We're just on the boss. Lots of resist, you'll see. Arbiter just got resisted. She just got resisted again. Cold Heart didn't do anything. But the important part is Teela's 320 some accuracy means she can land debuffs here very, very easily. That's the whole goal. Even if she did nothing else, did no damage, did no other support, just put the hit point burn on, that will be fine. So she landed that there. It's up. And the fight continues. Heartseeker hits for 1.1 million. I put that in the back of my head because it's a significant chunk of the boss's health, and that becomes important later in the fight. Warlord manages to extend debuffs there, which keeps the HP burn up. Super, super helpful in getting the boss down. And we continue along. There's a little bit of just the fight at this point goes for a little bit as everyone cycles through their abilities. At this point, I feel like everything is under control. I'm really in no danger of losing the fight. The question is more about how fast will it go. As compared to the screenshot I showed you earlier, which was about a 10-minute run, we're 4.5 minutes in and we're a third down. So it appears that including Zargala didn't really make the fight go any faster. It's just a matter of preference at that point. I'm going to try to optimize that further. Maybe next month it won't even be a thing if we have a different final boss. Pyro Strike happens again there. HP burn is up. We've got 2/3 of turn meter, so hopefully we can make more progress. HP burn ticked off, did about 500,000 damage, which is almost half of what Heartseeker does. And we continue to just plow against the boss. Like I said earlier, I don't feel like at any point we were in danger of losing here. It's just a matter of how long will it take and is this auto-friendly. At this point, the run is very auto-friendly. That breaks down a little bit in the past, and I think that that's something that I wouldn't just let this go overnight for 10 runs, for instance, because there is a little bit of risk around if HP burn is not up when the spider dies, she will revive herself and her minions, so you need to make sure that that happens. At this point, we're at about 40% health, continuing to burn against the spider. HP burn is up. The whole team's just doing their thing. I think I've got about another 2 or 3 minutes of this, which I'll include in the video just for the sake of completion, so everyone can see the run. But it doesn't really get interesting until we're at about 20% health again. And when that happens, I will pick up the commentary a little bit more aggressively. I will say you'll see a lot of resists by my team from the spider's AoE abilities. I'd just like to reinforce you have really 2 choices here. You could build everyone with respectable resists, probably over 175 or so is what's required to resist everything. That's why I use Warlord. He comes with 80 resists out of the box, and then probably another 30 or 40 from most of my affinities in the Great Hall, plus a little bit from gear. You'll see it in a few minutes. That's not foolproof, but it's good enough that you can mostly do what you have to do during the fight. So now we're at about 15-20% of the boss's health left. We've got HP burn up, and at this point I'm thinking I'm going to have a relatively good smooth run. The boss's turn meter clicks over, HP burn burns for about 500,000, and now we have no HP burn on the boss. At this point, I'm worried because if Coldheart does Heartseeker, she could kill the boss, and that would work the revive, so I take it off of automatic and run with manual a little bit, just to do low damage abilities until Teela's HP burn is back up. And that is really Teela's weakness and why she's not viewed as a tier 1 on meta legendary is because there's such a gap in her abilities. But overall, I think getting to this point on fully auto and just having to manually the last units is probably not that terrible. I know I find it acceptable. Hopefully, if you're in this case of either only having Teela or just not having, on meta HP burn champs, you'll think this is also an acceptable way to beat the boss. At this point, I A1 with Cold Heart again. She's frozen. Not so awesome, but I didn't want her to do Heartseeker, so overall I feel like that's a success. Freeze comes off Teela. At this point, I'm ready to start with HP burn. Should she get there? Teela resists. That's key to ending the fight. Zorgala hits the A1. At this point, HP burn is back up for Teela. Pyre Strike hits. HP burn's on the boss. We're all happy. Heartseeker with Cold Heart for 1.3 million, and we won this month's event. I'd like to end this video by looking at my MVP for the Doom Tower in February 2021. Now, I get that Teela doesn't get a lot of respect from the community at large, and, to be completely honest, she's not the best HP burn champion out there. Really, her A2 is why I think she doesn't get much love, in that it's a 2-turn ability on a 4-turn cooldown. But I'd also like to say that she's the best HP burn champ I have in my account. I bet there are other people out there in the community that are in a similar situation to me. So I'm hoping that people will look at this and think about what they have on their account and how they can use it to advance in the content in the game. Specifically, this one's for Doom Tower, but I bet there will be other places that you could maybe apply these same techniques or philosophies to make your raid experience better. Hopefully you found this helpful. I have a lot of other videos planned under the umbrella of Raiding Outside the Box. If you like this or you want to see more, please subscribe. I appreciate it, and that will, help YouTube put all of the videos on the front page or get them in the various algorithms. And it will also be a sign to me that you like what I'm doing. Thank you very much. This is Ezron signing off, and I will talk to you all soon.